Hey guys, we're at Mammoth Mountain, California, hanging out with Gabe Taylor, his marketing manager here. Oh yeah, we're gonna talk about e-bikes on the mountain, right? You guys are one of the first resorts.
We are the first bike park to allow uninhibited, total access to our bike park.
Fantastic, man.
Class 1 pedal assist e-bikes.
Class 1. Okay, sweet. And we actually got to go do some rides this week, and
it was awesome.
we're on like the.
Love it?
I loved it, of course. Yeah, I love e-bikes. What did you think, Brandy? This was
I loved it too, and I'm more of a beginner, e-bike or mountain biker, and it was super comfortable going uphill, but it was also challenging. So I didn't lose all of my breath at 9,000 feet, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, that was amazing.
We are at 9,000 feet. I ride my bike a lot. I ride my bike to work. I ride hours and hours and hours on end. And I had my first opportunity to ride one of our mountain bikes, our e-mountain bikes, like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
I had so much fun. I had an idea of how much fun it would be, and those ideas were blown out of the water. It was so fun to be able to rip uphill, cruise, and it turned an uphill trail that I normally suffer up, and it's okay. Like, I like that, and I'll probably still continue to do that, but it turned it into the most joyful flow trail I've ever ridden. It's like, I had no idea. Uptown was so flowy and fun.
That's the trail we went on. So we came here. It seems like you guys work with Trek a lot.
They're one of our partners.
They're one of your partners. Okay, so we're up here, and I was reviewing the Powerfly Long Travel 7. That was the bike that we rode. Mm-hmm. It's great because they have a bunch of different sizes, and we were talking about it's good because families can go out on this and stuff. And we took Uptown. That was the exact trail, and it was really cool. It's like off the trail, there was this earthquake fault thing and all this cool stuff. So I was kind of hoping you could take us through a little bit of the history of Mammoth and just talk about how this all came to be and stuff.
Cool. Well, back in the 20s, Dave McCoy started skiing here. There's beautiful mountain. Do you like my pointer? Beautiful Mammoth Mountain.
Yeah.
Dave McCoy, total stud. The guy, look at him. He's skiing, no gloves, no hat, and a t-shirt. And this is winter powdery snow, but that's just how the guy rolled. He was so influential to the ski industry, whether it was designing lifts, designing different ways to groom the snow. He just was making it happen, and his passion is still alive in all of us. And that actually started a really long and fruitful relationship with the Forest Service, which this will come up later.
Okay.
Here's Dave. Dave's 102 right now. He lives in Bishop. And
really? Are you serious?
Yeah.
He's 102?
Yeah.
Look at that smile, man. He's had a great
When
life.
was that photo taken?
That photo was probably taken in 93, I would say.
Jurassic Park came out in 90. It was a good year. Yeah.
Obscure Jurassic
You're just going to have to go with it.
reference.
I love Jurassic Park. He's a dinosaur. The movie's about dinosaurs.
I love dinosaurs. But it should have been Cretaceous Park. Right?
Well,
let's get into the nitty-gritty of what dinosaurs
true.
we're seeing and which time
Gabe
period.
the scholar. This is awesome.
I have a 3-year-old who loves dinosaurs. That's the only reason I know that.
I act like a 3-year-old sometimes.
So, he first decided to build a single-track mountain bike trail. There was some animal tracks out in the forest, and he said these would be really good. He saw these new mountain bikes were coming out, and I think this would be a great area to do it.
Yeah.
The first trail was Beach Cruiser, which a bunch of us rode yesterday. So next was he built a gondola to the top of the mountain for skiing, and he looked at it and thought, you know what? Why not put a bike on the gondola, take it to the top, and ride down the road that we've been using to access the ski runs, and then in the summer we need to do it to do repairs and stuff.
Nice.
So that was how the Kamikaze was born. It was
Okay.
it's a 3-mile fire road, and people started flying down the mountain. This is old school photo. If you look at this guy, has goggles with sunnies under it. There's a disc wheel here. There's this. Look at that chain ring. It's probably a 100-tooth chain ring. And then this gentleman here. Notice we have 1 foot on the pedal, and so there's a lot of pressure in this area here, and he's fine with it. It's no big deal. So from that, I think the bike industry, the mountain bike industry at the time, saw that Mammoth is a really cool place to have events. So we started having Kamikaze bike games and Norba Nationals and USA Cycling Nationals, the Reebok Eliminator. There's a lot of hype. The parking lots were full. There was so much activity going on. So as we grew from 1985 to now we're in 2018, we went from one single track trail and a fire road to this is our current park offering.
So we started like down here.
You guys started here and rode up there. Over 80 miles of single track.
Wow.
beginner, intermediate, expert, pro lines.
Yeah, extreme.
Yeah, I
all sides of the
appreciate
mountain.
all the different levels that you guys have to offer with mountain biking, all the way from like little kids up to super advanced top of the mountain
That's
stuff.
a good point. Like the one we were on, it was great. And there are so many times I was talking about like some of these other mountains where it's only like a lift and kind of an extreme, pretty steep downhill, and yeah, we're getting to the e-bike stuff, but the uphill is a lot less intimidating sometimes.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's what we pride ourselves on, is families and progression and helping people improve. You don't have to just go from 0 to 60 in the bike park. Let's slowly work your way into it. Get comfortable in your equipment.
Yeah.
And so that's what we go through a lot. So I'll kind of start speeding things up. This is what I think and what a lot of us feel makes Mammoth great is high alpine riding. There's not a lot of bike parks that have mountain biking above tree line with these views. You're at the top of the Sierra.
Wow.
Sorry,
And the different terrain.
Views. Yeah, exactly. Terrain uniquely Mammoth. We have boulders and trees and weird old growth trees and younger trees, and you can ride in every direction. What I mean by that is we have trails going into the east, going to the west, north, south, and it just gives you a different feel of actually circumnavigating this entire mountain, and you're actually able to explore the entire mountain.
Yeah. What is this?
So this is pumice surfing. Mammoth has a unique soil texture. It's pumice. It's from liquid hot magma. if you will. and it's different riding. A lot of people, loam and really wet soil it's nice. It's great. It's really fun to ride on. And you have a lot of control and zippy and everything's exact. With pumice, there's a lot of sliding. And once you learn to appreciate it, accept that you're not in total control all the time, it's so fun. And it's something that I love, the pumice. And some people, at first, they're a little uneasy on it. And then once they get comfortable with it, you watch them and something clicks. And it's like, man, that is so much fun. I'm having more fun than I've ever had. So I use it as something to speak to.
We talked about the varied terrain a minute ago, and when we were on uptown and downtown yesterday, we definitely went through some of that, and I was like, oh, is this sand? Like, what is this?
Yeah, it felt scary a little bit because I had never done that on a bike before,
For like little sections, but then the bikes that we had, they have the plus size tires, so they're the ones with the, it's like,
Those are great on pumice.
yeah,
it
really
just
comfortable.
feels like fun.
Yeah.
People refer to it as kitty litter. I feel like if you took a bottle of Tums and just shook it up,
Yeah.
that's kind of also similar. Something that truly, I guess all these things truly differentiate Mammoth, but something that we've really been working hard on over the last 10 years is creating a family-friendly environment. Really committing to beginners, families, kids, and really helping them experience mountain biking.
Yeah.
So we built the Discovery Zone.
Cool.
It's off of the Discovery chair. It's a short 2-minute chair, and we have a distinct progression of trails there. It starts with Discovery, then Adventure, then Explorer, to Discotheque. So there are 4 trails that sole purpose is to help people get more comfortable, to have more fun, and to be able to lap. And the short length, you don't get super tired really fast. It is so fun to sit over there and watch kids. I mean, I've seen kids on Strider bikes just lapping all day.
Awesome.
4-year-old kids.
Just learning how to bike.
Learning
It's
how to
like
bike.
the first step. That's awesome.
I appreciate this so much. I have 3 kids, and last year I took them to another resort in Colorado, and it was fun, and we took mountain bikes down the mountain, and it worked, but none of us had ever done that before. And so I took 2 of my kids up on the mountain, and we had bikes, and one of them did okay, one of them really struggled, and I had no idea what it was going to be like. And so in the end, we had fun, but there was nothing like this. There wasn't any kind of progression. There were signs saying this one's a little easier, this one's a little harder. I appreciated that. But there wasn't the infrastructure that you guys have here of, hey, let's go through these specific trails, let's have these little specific classes. I see that everywhere here. You can't avoid it.
The signage is really good.
The signage is good. It's obvious that's what you guys are trying to do. You have cool stuff outside for kids, like the climbing wall and the ropes.
Yeah.
Everything. Yeah. And I think we had a good trip, but I think this would have made it so much better.
The trails are wide and smooth, and we make sure to incorporate different features that are going to be out on the mountain, maybe small little rock gardens that people can try out, paver turns, so things that they can get used to. I mean, the goal is to help people be able to ride further, see more, and explore more of the mountain. It's also it's where the e-mountain bikes came in and have offered a huge advantage to that.
Yeah, no kidding.
So I I was a professional snowboarder for years, and then I got hired in a couple of different positions here, and then they asked me if I could do the marketing for the bike park.
Yeah.
And I rode bikes, and I liked it, and I enjoyed it. I sucked. I wasn't very good. I didn't know much about the community and the industry, so I dove headfirst into it, and I love it. It's so fun. I mean, mountain bikers are so cool, and I've been having so much fun with it. It's really intimidating. And so when I saw a lot of these ramps out there, I'd go ride around and like, I don't understand how that even worked, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like sideways.
Yeah. Like, gravity just doesn't work. And then as I got better and I started improving and I started, riding these newer bikes and letting the technology help me, it's like, oh my gosh, this is some of the funnest stuff I've ever done. So
It's pretty cool.
Another new trail, Midtown, which is a direct connection from downtown to Off the Top. We want to help people get to Off the Top. It's a trail that leaves from the tippy top of the mountain with some of the most beautiful views you've ever seen. And we want people to be able to see that. But it's a long intermediate trail. Sorry, there's Midtown. And so this helps. This helps helps with confidence. It's easy to lap from the gondola, and it was the perfect piece in the progression puzzle. Discotheque is a fun pump trail where people can get used to their bikes and their suspension.
Yeah.
What's next? We're building a trail, Boomerang, right now. We're going to be running e-bike tours out to the outpost. We're going to be expanding beginner trails. And the e-bike tour it's to go experience, to view the lakes, to view some of the geology and geography, delicious food out there.
Do they talk about it too, or it's like you kind of learn as you go on this tour?
We will be. We're trying to narrow down the talking points. Like, what do people really want to learn about?
Yeah.
What do they really want to hear? I mean, it's so new for us. The e-mountain bikes, they just got approved in May. And we got them, we built them, and so we're still trying to figure out, like, what are the best cases? What are the best uses for these? And
we saw people out on them yesterday. We saw a family. It was pretty cool. But yeah, go on. I'm excited to see like how this all came about.
So now we're getting down to this is a great transition into Class 1 pedal assist e-mountain bikes and the history. So we'd been hosting an event called the Boogaloo, which was, we had special use permits through the Forest Service, and we had races at the Kamikaze Bike Games since 2015. They were basically pump track style courses where you would have people racing on e-mountain bikes. And for a lot of the industry, it was their first chance to get on a bike, to get on an e-mountain bike and experience it and to have fun. And through those special use permits, we started noticing that this technology could come in really handy in the rest of the mountain. So our CAO, our Chief Administrative Officer, Ron Cohen, started working with our district ranger and Steve McCabe, our Director of Mountain Operations, to see what kind of permit we would need under our special use permit, which we have with the Forest Service. So we're on Forest Service land, and we operate under a special use permit. We talked with our ranger, what's going to require to get e-mountain bike, Class 1 e-mountain bikes approved for use in our bike park. And our rangers, they some chairs opened up, and Janelle Walker came in, who's our new ranger, and she saw how helpful they could be in our park, and she did her due diligence and approved it.
She let wow, cool.
It was
thank you, Janelle. That's
amazing.
awesome.
Thank you, Janelle. And so, I mean, it happened actually really fast for me sitting where I am, because it's funny, I heard a lot of negativity about it. It's like, oh, that would be lame, and oh, that's gonna be so dangerous, and a lot of different aspects from people that didn't know. And so I was curious to see. So once it was approved, it was like, okay, how are we gonna do this in a smart and well thought out way, to where I don't want people to get hurt. I want people to have fun. But then once we started actually riding the bikes and actually seeing which trails they were good on and who was going to be running and who was going to be riding, it made so much sense. Yeah. It was incredible.
Did you work closely with people for Bikes on this? Because we saw another presentation where they were like, we did some surveys on trail, does it harm the trail? And they were like, no. We did some surveys on like incidents and stuff, and they're like, no, didn't really happen. So did they help you at all, or was that?
I looked at their website and I saw that they had those studies up there, and I used that, but at that point it had already been
Things
approved.
were already good. Wow.
So it was more what I was using. I think I have that website saved, and I just click that website. I just paste that website into forums, because I'll see like, oh, it's gonna wreck the trail.
Yeah,
and
you'll be like, check this out.
I just boom, just go look at this. Like,
and hopefully help people. Like, we all love biking, right? And I also don't want to have like trails ruined or something. So it's this is kind of a cool use case. Like, how long have they been on the mountain now here?
So since opening day, which was Memorial Weekend, May 29th, I believe.
Yeah, and what are we in June? Late June right now?
Yeah, we're so a month.
Wow, it's only, wow, this is
It's
so
so
awesome.
fresh.
Wow.
So I think a lot of the things that we talked to Janelle about and why these were going to be helpful at Mammoth. First of all, we're at 9,000 feet right here.
Right.
You know, the park is anywhere from 8 to 11,000 feet. So the extra boost of electric power, it helps so much. Most of our guests are coming from sea level. They come
Right.
from San Diego, LA. That's where 80% of our guests come from.
Hmm.
And honestly, it doesn't really matter where you're coming from. It's hard to breathe. It's
Yeah.
really hard to breathe up here. So if you're going to be pedaling a bike, you might not be getting as much enjoyment unless you're super fit without that help.
Or just going as far too. I'm like, I feel like I'm in decent shape, and I spend a lot of time in Colorado, which is high altitude, but I still just, you can't, climbing, you only go so far.
Yeah.
So you have the chair lifts, which is really cool too. So there are regular bikes out here, obviously. You know,
Totally.
doing it.
Yeah. And I think that our mixture of trail, I mean, that's why I showed you guys a lot of the trail breakdown that we have, is there's a great blend of beginner, intermediate, uphill, and downhill trails.
Are e-bikes allowed on all of those trails?
Anywhere a normal bike is. So we have two-way trails. We have uphill only trails and downhill only trails.
Yeah.
They're under the same regulations as a normal bike.
Okay.
And they're allowed anywhere.
That's awesome.
If you want to take an electric mountain bike down Chain Smoke, be our guest.
Okay.
Chain Smoke is a pro line. It's I wouldn't recommend it.
I
but-
hear it mentioned, and people, maybe they're like, don't go there, Corey. They told me chain smoke.
Yeah, it's so cool. The aesthetics, it's really gnarly, but yeah,
Yeah, you gotta know what you're doing.
greater access to younger children, older adults,
Right.
kind of normal people. You know, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've been riding. So I ride my bike a lot to work, and even downtown. It's a nice, wide, smooth trail. There's two sections where there's maybe 150 foot uphill.
Right.
And I'll come up on that section, and there'll be a dad hammering up ahead, and mom walking, yelling at the dad, and the kids are crying, and it's their first experience mountain biking, and here they are suffering. And it's like, I want to show them a better time. So hopefully, that family would rent e-mountain bikes next time, and they don't even know that they're on an e-mountain bike. It's just so much fun. So that 5 minutes of suffering that turned into a potential divorce.
Oh no!
It didn't. I'm making that up. Sometimes I over dramatize things. But now, so divorce or fun?
Well, hey, it's an easy decision.
It's gonna be our new ad campaign.
I think that's a beautiful slogan right there.
Divorce or
Choose
fun?
e-bikes.
Visitation and retention and return visits. We want people to enjoy it and come back and have fun.
Yeah.
Leave a day of mountain biking and be like, gosh, I can't wait until I can get on a mountain bike again.
Special.
I have a buddy he's borderline pro cross country racer, Paul, and
Everyone you know is a pro, right?
I was a pro, yeah. I don't know. But he trains a lot, and he spends a lot of time away from his girlfriend. He bought his girlfriend an e-bike,
Oh.
and she goes and rides with him, and they get to spend a lot of quality time together.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's exactly what they're for.
Totally.
More access to more people, being able to have more fun riding bikes. It's come up a few times where people are like, well, it's just why don't you just ride a motorcycle? And it's so different.
don't- yeah.
It's so
Not
different.
The same at all.
It's riding a bike.
Brandy rides a motorcycle. I mean, do you want to explain the difference real quick, or what's?
Well, yeah. So if you think of an e-bike as a motorized vehicle, you think that you're going to get on it and push a button and it's going to take you everywhere, and it's super scary. And if you haven't been on one like that, and if anyone listening has been on a motorcycle before, it's what that feels like. It's something taking you somewhere.
Yeah.
And you just sort of control it a little bit. Being on an e-bike is totally different. It's like you're on a normal bicycle, but you simply have more power to make that bicycle go where you want it to go. It feels so much more like a bicycle than a dirt bike or a moped
Yeah.
or something like that. It's a whole different animal, I think.
Does
Yeah.
that
And with
resonate
class
with
one,
you?
yeah, totally. I mean, the designations of class one means that motor's not going to kick in until you're pedaling, and when you're pedaling, it's going to give you back energy. So you have to create the energy for it to match it and for it to put out. So
Yeah, so
Yeah.
you're still the one pedaling and trying to make it go instead of some motor taking you somewhere.
Now rules and restrictions.
Okay, rules. So again, only class 1 pedal assist e-bikes are allowed in the bike park. They must follow the same rules and regulations. They must follow the rider's responsibility code. they must have a valid Mammoth Bike Park ticket. And we've actually come up with a couple products that I think really speak to e-bikes. We have a $29 Discovery ticket, which allows you access to all of the trails, and it allows you access to the Discovery chair. So I talked about the Discovery Zone. So it's a product to help people get into biking via an e-mountain bike.
And I want to add something here, because we were out on the mountain. We were on, was this uptown, and we had this beautiful view, and then someone pulled up in this like rescue quad. It was like, hey, everything going okay? It was like ski patrol, but for bikes. It was like bike patrol person. So if you do get the Discovery Pass and you're like, I don't know where I am, it seems like you guys have people out there
we
like
have
to
bike
help.
rangers all around. We have phones located all across the mountain.
That's rad.
We realize that this is alien territory for most people.
Yeah.
You know, if you're coming from LA, San Diego, San Francisco, wherever, all of a sudden you're in this mountain environment, and it's really easy to feel overwhelmed and lost, and we want to help with those things.
Yeah,
you know?
maybe even sick, the altitude,
Totally,
right? Like even with an
exactly.
e-bike,
Yeah.
we're at altitude here.
So that's why we try to look at signage. We try to look at these situations from an outsider's, like what's the most helpful we can be in these situations, and we're still working on it. I mean, I think we can still grow upon that, but we just want people to feel as comfortable as possible when they're here. So we talk about our Trek Power e-mountain bikes for rental.
5 shops do rentals.
5 shops in town do rentals.
That's cool.
It's a bunch of the PR placements that we've got in the last month since we
Wow.
announced that we were going to be allowing
That's awesome.
e-bikes. So looking at the first 30 days and some of the successes and challenges, first of all, it's a success with a quarter. It's actually just a little over a quarter of our rentals have been e-mountain bikes.
That's
Really?
amazing to
Yeah.
me.
Wow.
In just the first month.
Yeah, in the first month.
I wonder how many of those people that's the first time they've even ridden an e-bike. Like, do they come up here and they're
good-
like,
yeah,
I'll
it's a
try
good
that
question.
one. Yeah.
I mean, we send out post-departure surveys, so I'm really curious to get that information and start getting data
We got to
back.
talk to the marketing manager or someone.
We
Ask
will
them
be.
about
Once
that.
we start, well, we just started sending them out, I think, a week or two ago, the
Mhm.
summer post-departure surveys, and so we're going to be getting a bunch of data back, and we'll be able to
Okay.
speak to that.
Is there a
and
place,
figure-
like, do you guys have an info center on your website or something people can go and check in on this, or
Yeah, oh yeah, totally.
just
Our website,
mammothmountain.com? Or?
mammothmountain.com.
Okay, rad. Plug.
So a couple of things that we were worried about initially was safety and the speed on trails. And what we've noticed is that they ride very similar to everybody else on a bike. They are courteous, and they're riding uphill slightly faster than they would if they didn't have an electric motor. But there hasn't been any conflicts. There hasn't been any problems with that. And once they're going downhill, they're cruising downhill, and they're actually not pedaling.
Yeah.
And once you get to 20 miles an hour with a Class 1 e-bike, the motor shuts off.
Yeah.
So it actually almost like downshifts, and it keeps you regulated in that kind of. I found that when I'm riding them, I'm usually in that kind of 13 to 18 mile per hour. Trail erosion, and like we spoke with that People for Bikes study, there's no greater impact on the trails that we've noticed so far.
Good. Great to hear that, yeah.
People getting in too deep. So, you know, the e-bike allows them to access trails that they wouldn't have access to without the e-bike. And that's not the case. We have lifts, and it's way easier to hop on a lift and get to the top of that trail than
That's a good point.
I
ride
would
an
think so.
e-bike. The core audience reaction, this has been interesting for me to watch because I was actually a part of it. You know, I didn't know what to expect. And I noticed a lot of my friends started texting me and calling me like, why are you guys allowing these things? I don't want to be pedaling uptown and have somebody on an e-bike
No.
pass me. There was a lot of judgment, and it got me thinking deep about, okay, well, how do I feel about it? Do I want to limit access to these things? Do I want to be the only person that can make it to this view because
Right.
I've suffered? No, I want everybody to be able to see this. Like, that's why I live here, and that's what I want other people to be able to come back here. That's cool. Do it. You know, like,
Yeah.
I use myself as an example. If I were to buy a new bike, I'd buy a normal bike.
Mm-hmm.
If I had a lot of money, I'd have an e-bike, and I'd have my normal bike, and I'd switch off.
Mhm.
But, you know, for me, I use my normal bike for fitness, and it helps me stay young and feel young. I'm not young. I'm old, and
Oh,
feeling,
it's not true,
it helps you
Gabe.
feel great. And but there would be these opportunities for riding an e-bike that would be so much fun.
Yeah.
And just being able to have fun, and you're still getting a workout. You're still burning calories. You're still using energy.
You totally
So
do. There are studies on that too, because you're spinning and you're at high altitude. Even walking, you're like, okay. Even
Totally.
talking for a while, we're like, I'm on camera, we're talking, and it's like, okay, I need to take a break and catch my breath. So that's
Yeah,
you're
totally.
still getting that balance. You're still getting that outdoors.
Where a lot of the core friends are just like, oh, how'd you get here? You know, I can picture them climbing to some overlook and
Yeah.
seeing an e-mountain bike come up and, oh, how did you get here?
Yeah.
But then once they realize that that person is just experiencing it the way they want to, and they're just having fun, and that's their God-given right, and that's why that's why we're here. That's why all of us are here.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see, and I'm already seeing it. I'm already seeing a lot of the turning of the people turning from naysayers to embracers.
Have you seen that a lot over the last month or so? Like, since e-bikes were introduced, like, how is the attitude?
Daily.
Yeah.
I have a friend. I won't name him, but he called me and he's like, "This is so dangerous, Gabe. This is a bad idea." And he's like trying to get me to like turn the whole thing around. And I was like, "You gotta just ride one, okay? And then talk to me." And he did, and he called me back. He's like, "You know what? I'm sorry. I didn't get it."
Good guy, right?
Oh
Like,
Yeah.
Awesome.
It's hard to
Kudos to
acknowledge
him.
so invested in something, and I get it. Like, and things change, and you're like, I don't want that to change.
Not that you're ever wrong, but you could imagine that if one day you were.
Well, it could happen. It's been known to. It happened like daily, man. And the thing about it is like part of the choice here. We talked about Trek. There are a bunch of great companies that are using these like pretty sophisticated mid-drive motors that are they're really sensitive. They listen for pedal cadence, pedal force, rear wheel speed. They don't get out of control. It doesn't just like, oh, you know, they're not spinning the tires and stuff. That's why when you keep going back to the slides, the rules where it was like class 1, and why probably Mammoth is partnered with Trek and they use the Bosch system. Bosch, they make like cell phone sensors and like engine stuff. They're like, it's a huge German company. I mean, you lived in Germany for a while, Brandy.
I lived in Stuttgart where Bosch is.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's legit.
High quality, precision, been around a long time. Really reliable company, what they make.
So it's nice.
My impression.
That translates to that good experience we're talking about. That brings it down to like, this isn't just a chainsaw strapped to the back of a bicycle, which we've seen. I've seen that.
My e-bike. Somebody stop it! Somebody stop it!
Yeah, right. It's like leashes for snowboards and all this. So you got to do it right, and that does make a difference.
Totally.
So you guys are doing that.
So working with our town is also on Forest Service land, and so a lot of the bike paths fall under the regulations of the Forest Service and our local state jurisdictions.
It's interesting.
Where e-mountain bikes are not allowed yet. So we got cleared approved to have e-mountain bikes within our leased land.
Yeah.
Outside of it, it's not allowed yet. We're working on it. The town's working on it, and we're all working together.
Yeah.
We probably didn't give them as much heads up as they would have liked, but at that point, we wanted to get it approved. You know?
Yeah.
And
Well, the
there's a lot
season's
of red
happening
tape.
and stuff.
Once you get into local government, it's
Sure.
we're forging ahead. So for better or worse, that's how it worked. But our local trail committee came out with this really cool flyer, and it talks about where e-bikes are allowed, e-bike riding etiquette, and what you need to know in Mammoth Lakes and riding
this
e-bikes.
is tiny text, but that's interesting. Do you feel like is there some sort of way? Well, let's say someone local buys an e-bike and they live in town. Can they just turn it off and pedal to like the mountain and then turn it on once they're on the mountain? Because technically,
I don't think so.
No.
I don't know.
Just because it has a battery and a motor.
I think so. I don't think that you could do that.
Oh, that sucks. Because I totally would. That's like
It's not on. It's not on. It's not on.
Seriously, you're holding the battery.
Next? We're looking at creating an uphill trail all the way to the top of the mountain. Right now, you can pedal up to mid-station McCoy. We're looking at a designated uphill trail.
Okay.
It'll be for e-mountain bikes and people that want to ride normal bikes to the top.
That's cool. Designated uphills.
We're looking at increasing the e-mountain bike rental fleet. If it were up to me, it would be 80% of our rental fleet, but you're going to probably talk to somebody else that will give you another number. And I'm sure that we're still going to have standard rentals in our fleet moving forward, but
Yeah.
I would just really try to convince people to rent that e-bike versus the standard rental.
Yeah, better experience. We want to talk to someone about that later. Like, just get someone at the rental center and see like who's.
Yeah, you'll talk to Ben Stranger and he'll give you really honest answers. Work with signage, help route finding, have some designated e-mountain bike route signage just to help people with wayfinding.
We saw that. That was cool.
And we're going to be having an e-duro division of the enduro at this year's Kamikaze Bike Games. So it's just gonna be an enduro on an e-bike, and it sounds pretty cool because you're gonna have to watch your battery power. You're gonna have to. There's a strategy where if you go turbo from the beginning, you're gonna make it to 2 stages, and then you're gonna be pedaling an e-bike without any power.
It's a really interesting.
So
point.
it's gonna be a fun balance, and we're gonna see if there's a lot of people that come and do that. Then something we could expand upon in years,
I love
future
that.
years. increasing lessons, kids programs, and adventure and guided programs. Like I was talking about the geology and ecology tours.
I like that. That appeals to me personally.
I think that'd be really cool. I mean, there's so much of that around here, and it's such an interesting area. So,
are there fossils? What is the story? Mammoth? I mean, that's woolly mammoth. You know.
So if you
volcano?
look at the outline of the silhouette of the mountain on the horizon, it looks like a woolly mammoth kind of.
Okay.
So a lot of the features you refer to. So there's the back and the tail and this and that.
The big trunk with the
But no,
tusks and the.
We haven't found
No
it.
mammoths.
I don't know.
Maybe this discovery tour, we'll find dinosaurs, Gabe. It'll be awesome.
Good. I can't wait.
Just
I
wait.
can't wait. Dude, if I found fossils here, I'd retire and I'd just be a. I love it.
Well, you get your run in for sure.
So yeah, there you have it.
That's it. Yeah.
in a rather large nutshell.
This is great. This is
mountain
awesome.
biking and mountain biking as it pertains to the Mammoth Bike Park.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Great hanging out.
Gabe spent some extra time just with us to do this because there was a presentation the other day, and I just want to thank you again.
My
It was
pleasure.
awesome.
I was on my way for a run. Literally in the
That's why I
parking
was
lot,
teasing
when
him.
These two guys found
We're like,
me.
stop,
I'm like,
Gabe.
No, come with me.
Don't you want to do PowerPoint instead? But this was really helpful. Part of the appeal here is like you are special. Like this, you personally, and the mountain. Like this history that we talked about, and being like the first to take that risk. And you talked about like we went for it before the town was even it's kind of up to speed, and we're just doing it. But you also told me that before any tree is cut down on this resort, before any policy is announced or anything, you get that like confirmation from the Forest Service. You're a good steward of the land and also of those rules. You're following. This is like legit.
Yeah, and I touched on that in the very beginning, where we have this relationship with the Forest Service. When they have told us to do something, we have done it to a T, because we know that relationship is imperative to our business.
Of course.
And I think through the years, they've realized, like, hey, you know what? Like Mammoth they're great steward.
You guys are awesome.
They're great managers of this opportunity.
It's
And
special.
so we know that there's a lot of people. We know all eyes are on us, and we like it that way.
You're
That's
doing a good job.
That's great.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, man. I hope you have a great
my
rest of your
pleasure.
day. Brandy,
Have
thanks for the
fun,
input.
guys. Wherever you're riding your e-mountain bike, enjoy it, giggle, laugh, and if you want to come to Mammoth, we'll be here.
We'll see you on the trails.
See you on the trails.
Sweet. Okay, well, it was 42 minutes instead of 15.